Imagine a nation of hundreds of millions, suddenly plunged into a silence so profound, it felt like the very air had been drained of its voice. June 25th, 1975. A date that would redefine the boundaries of power and the resilience of the world's largest democracy. This is the story of India's darkest 21 months, a period where the laws designed to protect the people were turned against them. To understand the collapse, we must look at the cracks that formed long before the final hammer fell. The early 70s were years of turmoil. Inflation was spiraling out of control. Basic goods were becoming luxuries, and the frustration on the streets was reaching a boiling point. Protests erupted across the nation. Students, workers, and political rivals joined forces, demanding accountability from a government that felt increasingly besieged. At the heart of the legal storm was Article 352 of the Constitution, a provision meant for external threats, now being eyed for internal control. Under this article, the balance of power shifts. State governments lose their autonomy, and the central authority gains absolute, unchecked command. Fundamental rights suspended. The judiciary's wings clipped. It was a blueprint for a total systemic takeover, waiting for a single spark. That spark came from a courtroom in Allahabad. Justice Jagmohan Lal Sinha delivered a verdict that would shock the political establishment to its core. The Prime Minister was found guilty of electoral malpractices. Her election was declared void. The iron grip on power was slipping. Instead of stepping down, the decision was made to double down. If the law was the problem, the law would have to be changed. Midnight, June 25th. While the nation slept, a document was prepared, a signature that would effectively turn off the lights of liberty. The proclamation was signed by the president. Within hours, the machinery of the state began its relentless, synchronized movement against its own citizens. The first targets were the voices of opposition. In the dead of night, police convoys rolled out across the capital and beyond. Doors were kicked in. Leaders who had fought for independence were now being led away in handcuffs by their own countrymen. Thousands were detained without trial. The Maintenance of Internal Security Act became a shadow that followed every dissenter. Then came the silence. Printing presses were disconnected. The newsrooms that usually buzzed with the sound of democracy went cold and dark. Censorship was absolute. Every headline, every editorial, every word had to be approved by a government official before it could reach the public. For 21 months, fear became the primary tool of governance. Forced sterilizations and slum clearances showed the brutal efficiency of a system without oversight. But a system built on fear is a gamble. In early 1977, thinking the opposition was crushed, the government called for elections. The people responded with a roar that no census or secret police could have predicted. The ballot box became the ultimate instrument of reform. The subsequent defeat led to the 44th Amendment, a series of constitutional safeguards to ensure that such an emergency could never be declared so easily again. History doesn't repeat, but systems do. And when power goes unchecked, even a democracy can bend. So the real question is, did we actually learn from this, or did we just move on? What do you think? Was the emergency a necessary decision in a crisis, or a dangerous abuse of power? Comment your perspective below. Not just your opinion, your reasoning. Subscribe to understand how power and control really work.